In verses 27 through 36, the last 10, I offer you this portrait. You see, Jesus is now going to further explain this to make sure that we get it. He gave us his own model, he told us the message, and he's now left us with a mandate. Let me show you using the acronym of evangelism. This 10-letter acronym, walking through these last verses, you are going to see an eternal extravagance in verse 27 that shows the cost and the purpose of Christ's cross. You're going to see in verse 28 the voice of victory. In verse 29, you'll be astonished and amazed when you see how astonished and amazed the crowd gets who should know Christ but doesn't. In verse 30, you'll be forced to ask with this crowd, is this gospel a nudge of God or just a noise that I push away? In verse 31, you'll see it's going, gone. All hope for the enemy is gone. Game over for him here. Verse 32, you'll see in the love and the truth of Jesus and God the Father that evangelism is for everyone. The invitation is universal. In verse 33, you'll see the language of love. In verse 34, we'll look at an incredibly indignant people. And we'll close out with verse 35 and 36, looking at Christ's call to surrender and shine. And then lastly, see the promise that we have as Christians to be ambassadors of his miracle, of the one true Messiah, and then to live on mission. There's no missing Isaiah 53. The Messiah would come as that servant that Isaiah so powerfully paints for us. These people knew that. They just didn't want that. This is about a lack of want to in worship. And I say to you, friends, this plague is running rampant in our day. Oh, I'll go to church. Oh, I'll do the program. I'll learn some facts. But you want me to deny myself, pick up my cross, and follow Jesus? You want me to actually hate this life to the extent that it interferes with my total devotion to Jesus? Yeah, no, that's a little over the top. Okay, but that over-the-top path leads to heaven. It's uphill and it's narrow. And the only way you can do it is if you're spirit-empowered. But I'll tell you what, any other path is broad and it leads to destruction. That's what my King tells me. That's what this passage is underscoring. And again, remember, he's not telling us this while we're on a plane ride to Disney World. He's telling us this while he's heading to the cross. He means it. He means every syllable. At the same time, friends, note the sense of urgency here. You see, when judgment comes, grace is done. When judgment comes, grace is done. It's over. At the same time, know this, and I say this tenderly, death closes all doors. There are no do-overs on the other side of death. And none of us are guaranteed even another tomorrow. Friends, this is the hour. That's what Jesus said. This is the hour. For you, perhaps, this is the eternal hour to surrender that you might shine. That you would have the miracle of saving grace brought through the Messiah that is Jesus so that you can live on mission. Maybe this is your hour. This is the day. We've got to stop loving this life and start hating this life. We've got to stop faking and start following. That's what Jesus said. I pray that we will stand together and say, yes, Lord.